Well, hello, everyone. Welcome into Snow the Goalie, part of the WBCB family here on. I'm getting a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, that would be why. That was my fault, folks. The echo. The echo was my fault.
Yeah.
That's because I'm an idiot. All right. Welcome in. Let's try this again. Welcome to Snow the Goalie. As Russ calls it, the only Flyers podcast. I'm Anthony SanFilippo here with Chris Therien. And it's a rough night, last night for the Flyers. Everything had lined up for them, Bundy. Everything that they needed to happen around the league happened.
Yeah.
And, if they would have just won that game last night, they would be in a pretty good spot. They would still be 3 points out of a playoff spot, but they'd have games in hand. They'd have matchups against teams that they're chasing. It would be a much different feeling, I think, today for Flyers fans than it ends up being when they lose that game and lose it in regulation to the Columbus Blue
Yeah, it left a pretty bad taste in everybody's mouth, especially considering, I thought the Flyers had a great first period, and usually that compounds into the next period and the next period into the game, but for some reason, they just didn't come out the second period at the start of that, and it gave Columbus that opportunity to take the 2-1 lead, and Flyers never tied the game or had a lead again the rest of the night. So, yeah, it was a very frustrating night, and you're right. All the teams that you needed to lose last night lost. You got some favors that you need. You need some favors when you're coming down a stretch and you're in a playoff hunt, and that happened for the Flyers, and they were not able to reciprocate with even a point at home after a really good West Coast trip out in California.
Yes, and just to remind everyone, I don't usually do this. This is usually Russ's thing, right? He's got it all memorized. I'm usually the second guy. But Russ usually does all this stuff. We are live from Chickie's and Pete's at Parx Casino. If you're out this way, stop in and say hello. We do this every Wednesday at Chickies and Pete's, at different Chickies and Pete's location around the Philadelphia area, any one of their 17 locations. So be sure to come in and see us. Even if you can't come ttonight, check us out next week. We'll be in Marlton next week.
Yeah.
In Bundy's backyard.
My stomping grounds.
Marlton, New Jersey. So be sure to come out and say hello. Yeah, it was interesting to listen to the comments after the game, Bundy, because, Tocchet, first I want to talk about what Tocchet said. And I thought he was a little bit more critical of the team at a time when they were playing well than I was a little bit surprised. He came out and said, we should have been up 3-0 in the first period, at least.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. They should have been up more than 1-0.
Right. Yeah.
Jack Reeves also played pretty damn well in net for Columbus, so you got to give the goalie his props. But that's the difference, I think, with this team between being what everybody wants them to be and where they're at, is that they don't take advantage of the opportunities that they create for themselves, which they did. That first period yesterday, they had a lot of offensive chances.
Yep.
And they just didn't fit. Other than the Couturier goal, they just did not finish. And I think that's the difference. He's pointing it out and saying, look, yeah, we gave up 2 goals in a minute and a half to start of the second period. That stinks. But on the whole, when you look at the rest of the game, it was either the Flyers were advantage or even otherwise. And that was the opportunities that they didn't finish on in the first period would end up costing them the game.
It did ultimately. And he's right. If Kate scores on that breakaway, if Owen Tippett scores on the breakaway, they've got a comfortable lead. Even if it's 2-0, that's a huge, bigger difference being up 1-0 entering the second period. But I just hated the process at the beginning of the second period.
Yeah.
The first goal that Matthew Olivier shot short side is probably a goal that Vladar would want back. But nonetheless, it happens. It was still a pretty decent shot. But the one after that, the Werenski goal, where they just played tic-tac-toe and he came in and just snapped it, that goal is maddening for everybody involved, because the Flyers did not give up those kind of chances in the first period.
Yeah, and I went back and
they were after. In the second period, they managed to allow that stuff to happen. Yeah,
I went back and watched that second goal because I had a misread on it last night, and when I went and watched it the second time, I thought Werenski comes off the wall, but he doesn't. He's actually out in the neutral zone.
Yep.
Right, and it looks like Barkey's covering the man. And Owen Tippett, who was in the neutral zone, goes to the same man as Barkey.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. Did Barkey go to the wrong guy? Should Tippett have stayed with Werenski? I'm not sure whose mistake that is, But that's Werenski takes advantage of that, goes right into the middle
Yeah.
where it's wide open, and that's how he gets that open shot.
Yeah, I only saw the replay once, but I think what has to happen is that the whole middle of the ice was wide open.
Yeah.
So one of those wingers has to clog that up.
Right.
Be aware of where that defenseman's coming from, and then be that guy to present yourself to him so he can't get that freewheeling shot off.
Right. So one of those two guys, likely one of those two.
One or two guys, that made a mistake, or there was a missed coverage in the D zone.
Right. Yeah, they both went to the same guy. So
yeah.
and that's unfortunate. But and I see a lot of people asking, "Where's Russ?" Russ is away for work. He will be back tomorrow night. We did not suspend Russ. We did not kick him out as much as we'd like to. He is just not with us tonight. He's up in New York, and he will be back tomorrow. So I mean, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about was what Travis Konechny said after the game. And I know some people are a little bit frustrated by it, but I'll tell you that there's a little bit more to it. And I want to give Charlie O'Connor credit because he's the one who actually kind of pointed it out. So first thing was, Konechny comes out and says, well, it's not like we were going to win every game, right? And he's right. They weren't going to win 17 in a row, right? Like it was not going to happen.
No, not happening.
Right? So he's not wrong, but I think that some people took it the wrong way, as in almost like, well, he doesn't care enough.
Right.
When you say that, right? And with the part that Charlie kind of added a little bit of color to is that Konechny sat in full gear at his locker for a while before he actually got up and spoke to the media. So in essence, he was wearing that loss in that locker room.
Yeah.
Just not with his public comments.
Right.
I mean, and you've seen that many times, right?
Yeah.
Where guys, it really weighs on you, but you don't want to say anything stupid. So you just kind of take a little extra time to collect yourself to know that you go out and say the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and there's nothing. I don't think there's anything. It's just you could take that quote he said, and if you don't see the person saying it in the moment of time, it can be misconstrued.
Sure.
Right. Like you have to see the guy's pain that he's in and the frustration that he has.
Right.
Then it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
When you say rather than just like, yeah, well, we weren't going to win every game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes it look like
exactly
that it's the opposite of of caring.
Right.
Right.
And that's not, and by me pointing that out, I don't want anybody to sit here and think that I'm trying to defend Travis Konechny, because I think Travis Konechny didn't do enough last night. I don't think he had as horrible a game as a lot of people are saying. But as you pointed out on the show last night, he's your best forward. He needs to meet the moment in the biggest game, and he didn't do it. He wasn't alone. There were other guys who also did not meet the moment last night. Really, their best line all night was their fourth line.
Yeah, no question. They were unbelievable.
The fourth line was the best line in the game.
Yeah.
So it's not just Konechny, because where was Trevor Zegras? Where was Owen Tippett? Where was Noah Cates? Where was Matvei Mishkov? Like all those guys, even the top pair on the defense, I didn't think had a
rough night last night.
Cam
York had a rough night.
Cam York didn't have a good game. So like there was a lot of players that didn't meet the moment last night. So it's not. You don't want to just single out one individual player, but in when you look at it, like he has to be better if they're going to go. He keeps talking about, like he said, it was about a month ago. He came out and said that he's tired of missing the playoffs, and then he scored a hat trick on one leg,
right?
About a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like he was dragging them along for a little while. Like you got to give him a credit for that, but. Still, in the moment, last night's a game where you need more out of Travis Konechny and you didn't get it.
If he's your best forward, right, you got to have your best forward showing up in those big games. And maybe there's other guys that are alongside with him now, like Zegras and Tippett, that are driving the offense as well also. But in those moments, for all the good games he had, that had to be the game last night that he was really present in, and he wasn't. Yeah. And that becomes frustrating because you need your top players. You need your best players in the biggest games to be the best players as often as possible. And that's how you ultimately have a chance to win them. But it just didn't happen last night.
Yeah, I want to get to this comment. Jason Franklin asked, did anyone see the Anthony DeMarco article where it said that the front office sees Cam York above Drysdale? Like, why? The best of Drysdale is still to come, in my opinion. York is meh. That's what he says. I don't necessarily think that they view Cam York as above Drysdale. I think that they view Cam York as a more complete defensive player than Jamie Drysdale. Would you say that that's fair?
Right now, yes.
Yeah, right now, yes.
Yeah.
They're going to sign Jamie Drysdale, and they're probably going to sign him to a contract similar to what Cam York got.
Mm-hmm.
If not for even, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that this is definite, but I would not be surprised if it's even a little bit longer. I know York got a 5-year deal. I wouldn't be surprised if Drysdale got like a 6.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think that they believe a lot in Jamie Drysdale, and I do think the best is yet to come with him. But I think it's a different kind of how you view a defenseman, right? Drysdale, they look as more of a two-way defenseman than York.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at guys who you can count on to play in your own end, I think you look at York and say he's the better option right now for back there.
Agreed. It's interesting too. Like you look at York as his progression. Like he started off the year with Sanheim.
Yeah.
In that top pair, and we thought that was kind of locked in stone, and it wasn't.
Right.
So they felt the need to move Risto back up with Sanheim, break up the pairs, put York with Drysdale,
yeah.
right? And I think that's been okay some nights. Like I think it's worked, and there's other nights there's some left to be desired. But I think it gave the Flyers a formidable top pair, at least a little better defensively, with putting Risto up there with Sanheim.
Yeah.
But I also think that gives Drysdale an opportunity to be more offensive, having a more of a defensive minded guy like York supporting him.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100% on that. So yeah, I wouldn't read into that too much. I really think that Drysdale. Look, I know we're probably not supposed to say this. I'll probably get a text message like, why did you put that out? So how there's the awards voting.
Yeah.
Every year for the Flyers Awards. This is the Flyers Awards, not NHL Awards. I know that I'm not allowed to talk. Those are embargoed, and I can't vote for that yet anyway until after the season's over. But the Flyers Awards, we started the voting already, and the media gets to vote on 2. We get to vote for the Bobby Clark Trophy for MVP, which no brainer.
Vladar.
It's Dan Vladar. If it's anybody else, it's a joke, right? But then the one that I thought that there was multiple guys it could be is the Barry Ashby Trophy for Best Defenseman. And I asked you last night who you would vote, and you had a tough time deciding between a couple guys.
Yeah, I had to think it out.
Right?
Yeah.
And I did too. I ended up voting for Drysdale.
Yeah.
That was good. Now, I don't know if he's going to win it. That's just who I voted for, right? They won't. It is, right before the last home game of and that's not to take anything away from Sanheim, who was the other guy that I debated, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a good year. I just think that there was so much more out of Jamie Drysdale. Like Sanheim was Sanheim. He was just the guy I kind of expected this year, whereas Jamie Drysdale opened eyes in my mind.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, and he's done a good job. And it's also because of the progression he's made from what he was when he got here to where he is today.
Yes.
So he's had some good coaching. Guys have really worked with him. He's been better defensively, better making decisions coming out of his own zone, which was a problem at one time when he got here. He was very indecisive in his decision-making process. And I think the last year, especially this year, he's really come into his own, and feeling more confident as an NHL player, hanging on to the puck a little bit more, taking good shots on net, making good plays in the offensive zone. But I think it's his prowess defensively and the way that he's come around defensively. It's really made him a strong asset for this team.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to kind of get to today off of last night is we were questioning pregame, and it turns out we found out some information today. But we were questioning pregame. We knew all, the 3 guys that came back in, Couturier, Glendening, and Barkey came back in last night. And then so that took out Garrett Wilson. That took out Emil Andre.
Yeah.
And that took out Nikita Grabenkin. And the one that we thought last night on the pregame show, we were talking about it, like there was some confusion. Like, why would you take Grabenkin out of the lineup?
Right? Now we found out he's hurt.
Turns out he's hurt.
Yeah.
And he's getting some tests done.
Yeah.
They're not sure he's going to be available tomorrow either.
Yeah.
So at least that makes some more sense.
Yeah.
Because I was questioning taking him out of the lineup. Right? I mean, you kind of look at him as a guy now, right?
Yeah, he's one of the boys on the team, like one of the 12 skaters every night. Yeah, I was surprised they didn't see him in there, and we thought it was just a healthy scratch because he was out.
Right. Yeah. So at least we have that one makes sense. I wanted to kind of talk because I get into some conversations with people online, about Emil Andre. People questioning why. Now, sounds like he's going to be back in the lineup tomorrow, but Juleson didn't practice today, and he's going to get some tests done. I think he's going to miss some time too.
Juleson?
Okay. So Andre is going to have to come in and play regardless at this point.
Yep.
But I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on Emil Andre because, they haven't played him a lot here in the second half of the season. He's been in and out of the lineup. Recently, when he was in, he was only in to play as a forward. He was not playing as a defenseman, even though they were dressing 7. They had all those injuries on that West Coast trip. It's not like they were rotating 7 defensemen. He was actually playing as a forward. He actually took a draw. I think
Andre did.
Yeah. Emil Andre took a draw.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to kind of get your as a defenseman, your view of his season, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it as well.
Just initially, if you ask me for a quick answer, I think it's been unbalanced.
Yeah.
I think there's been some really good moments, and I think there's been some really disappointing moments or moments that he needs to improve upon. His decision making, that's the biggest thing for him, for me.
Yeah.
When he makes those good quick plays out of the zone and he jumps up the ice behind them, he's playing good hockey. When he overthinks it too much and he doesn't get the puck out of the zone, he gets himself in trouble, and he gets himself in trouble defensively in the zone. But I mean, no, there's still room for him to grow and to work and to get better. I do think he just needs to continue to get coached and to continue working at his game.
And that's what I wanted to, so that's where I want to kind of take this with him, because I'm not sure if he's a guy that has another level. You think that there's still something more there? Because
no, I think he's leveled out.
I think he is a guy.
Yeah.
Like just a guy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's third pair, maybe an extra
seventh guy. Yeah.
I kind of think that's what he is. And that's not a knock.
No.
I mean, he's a second round pick, right?
Yep.
Like, that's not a bad thing to get out of a second round pick, but I don't think he's more than that. And I believe because he's a young player, because he's was a higher draft pick, second round, that I think that there's a belief out there in the fan base that he should be given more of an opportunity, more of a role. And I don't think he would excel in it. I just don't.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree with you. I think that he is what he is.
Yeah.
What you see out there. I do think that he can still improve his decision making better, which will go a long way. You know, into him being a regular in the NHL.
Right. The difference between being the seventh guy
and being
in
a
the
third
lineup.
pair guy.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, and I think there's room for him to continue to get better. I think more reps, playing in these games, making those hard decisions when you're on the ice. What is the right play to make with the puck? If you look at Andre this year, a lot of the plays he gets in trouble on is making a poor outlet passes that come back and transition to the back of the net. That's where he gets in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's what he's got to get better at.
And he also gets beat up a little bit.
He does.
Because of his size.
He does. He's not a real big guy either.
Yeah.
He gets his body in the way of a lot of rough stuff.
Yes, and that's an issue too. And a lot of times when that, if that's happening along the wall, now all of a sudden you're getting taken out of the play. What does that do for your partner? Like your partner now he's got to back you up. He's got to cover two jobs.
Yeah.
Right. And that's never a good thing. So that's kind of where that is. So I mean, that's where they are coming off of the game last night. We'll take a look at the standings momentarily and kind of look at what's ahead. But before we do, I want to remind everyone that we, of course, are at Chickie's and Pete's in Parx Casino up in Bensalem, PA, next week at Marlton, New Jersey. It's the on-site host every week for Snow The Goalie. No matter the sports season, Chickie's and Pete's got you covered. Start your meal. I mean, we've talked about what we get. I got the sweet potato fries again tonight.
Yeah, they were good, huh?
Yeah, well, I got them because Russ doesn't like them.
Oh, okay.
Right? And usually I share the fries with Russ.
Yep.
Right? And I knew he wasn't going to be here tonight, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going with the sweet potato fries.
Yeah.
And I love the dipping sauce that you get with that. They're really good. I got the tailgate burger. I've been bouncing around the menu. And the tailgate burger, love it. It's regular burger, but they put the crab cake on top of the burger.
Oh yeah.
So you go crab cake and burger together.
Wow,
it's a great sandwich. So I get that. The Bundy meal, of course, is the clam chowder, the 12 peel meat shrimp, and the pizza. The traditional pizza. You can get that anytime you go to Chickie's and Pete's. Make sure to check them out at one of more than 17 locations in the Philadelphia area. And if you're at the next Flyers game, if you're at a game before the end of the season, there are 2 locations at Chickie's and Pete's at the Xfinity Mobile Arena, so make sure you stop in there and grab something to eat, either in the East Food Hall or in the southeast entrance in front of section 103. All right, Bundy, it's that time of the show, 20 minutes in, for us to do the Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week. Brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. This goes back to last week. So we got the LA game, the San Jose game, and then last night. So we have 3 games to pick a player of the week.
Yeah, and this is a tough one for me because I could have easily gone with Vladar again until last night.
Until
He
last
gave
night.
up 3.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to last week, who had a great trip out west. Wasn't awesome last night, but he still played pretty well. I'm going to go with Noah Cates.
Okay.
As my player of the week.
He really did have a good West Coast trip.
Excellent trip out west.
Yeah. That whole line did.
They did. Cates has actually gone out there now twice to California and had 2 great trips in his last 2 times. So he loves playing in the California part of the schedule. Yeah. And he's my pick for the Payroll Solutions Player of the Week.
Yeah, no, it's good. That's a good one. I like that call. I was thinking again, similar rationale to you. A player who had a good week last week, didn't necessarily have a great game yesterday, but played well on the West Coast trip, was Owen Tippett.
Yeah, he's another one that had a great
he had a really good trip, right? He's really been their best player for a while.
Yeah.
He's been the runner-up for this award a couple of weeks. I tried to sneak him in last week. You guys beat me to it with Vladar last week. I don't know, Tippett or Noah Cates. And intern Andrew goes Noah Cates.
Okay.
So I lose again.
So the runner-up is Owen Tippett.
Owen Tippett, 3 weeks in a row, he's the runner-up.
Well, that means he's been second place 3 times in a row. That's pretty good.
That's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad, right? So congratulations to Noah Cates. This may be the first Noah Cates Payroll Services Player of the Week. I have to go back and check the stats on that. But once again, that's brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions caters to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again, 1-866-PAY-EASY. All right, Bundy, let's take a look at the standings because there are still people who are hoping. We got our one buddy who comes in here all the time. Into the chat, Jake, who sends me, he's got like this app that he's created with like a best case scenario tracker that he does. Yeah, like it kind of point out like what you need to happen for the Flyers to have a chance to make the playoffs. So we do know that there are a lot of guys or a lot of fans, not just guys, but fans who believe still that there is an opportunity for this team to get in. They only have 12 games left, right? But they still have games in hand on every team that they're chasing. Yeah. Right. So that's a positive. I guess other than Montreal, but Montreal's 8 points up. I don't really consider
that
no
a longer team contention. With
I don't think you're chasing Montreal. So they are the last team in right now is Ottawa with 85 points. They've been playing some pretty good hockey.
Really have. Yeah, they sure have.
They've woken up. I don't know. I don't know where that came from all of a sudden, but maybe they finally realized that they have some talented players.
Just had 2 huge back-to-back wins, too. Beating Detroit again last night. They've had 4 of their top 7 defensemen out of the lineup. Yeah. They've made some real strides.
They have. So that's the team they're chasing in the wild card. They're 5 points ahead of the Flyers. Flyers do have a game in hand. Beyond that, you have the Penguins, who are in 3rd place in the Metropolitan Division.
86 points.
They have 86 points. Flyers have a game in hand on them. And we've already talked about how tough the Penguins schedule is, but it's getting toward the end of that tough stretch. Yeah. Once you get through March, the Penguins schedule eases up a little bit.
Here's an interesting one about Pittsburgh when you look at their team.
Yeah.
They've actually left the rink this year more times losers than winners.
Yes.
And they're 3rd place in the Metro.
Isn't that unbelievable? I don't want to point out a second.
Right.
It's crazy. So the rest of their month, the Penguins are in Ottawa tomorrow night. That's an interesting one.
That's a big one.
So who do you root for in that one? If
you know what?
If you're the Flyers, like who do you want to win?
Pittsburgh's got a real nasty schedule. We can't forget that. Like they've got blown out their last 2 games.
Yeah.
And I know they were getting away with some stuff like that. They got a point down in Carolina, I think, the big game a few games ago.
Yep.
But yeah, who do I want to win that? I would rather have Ottawa win that.
So would I.
Yeah.
I would. But this goes against the intern Andrew theory which is you want the team with the lowest point total to lose.
Right.
Right. I mean, normally that's the case. But when you look at what the Penguins have coming up.
Yeah, I know there's an open opportunity in the Metro. Like I know there's 6 points back of Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah.
The only problem is you get the Islanders. The Islanders are the only team ahead of you in that.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a minute. Like I'm gonna get to that in just a second, right? So here's what Penguins got coming up. They play Ottawa tomorrow, then they're back home to play Dallas on Saturday, which is an advantage for the Flyers because they get Dallas on Sunday, which is a back-to-back for the Stars. Also back-to-back for the Flyers, but nevertheless, it's back-to-back for Dallas. Then they play at the Islanders, home against Detroit, back-to-back Monday, Tuesday. So the Penguins have 4 games in 6 days,
right,
with travel in between, okay? And then they go to Tampa, right? So this is a tough little road. Then it gets the end. Their last 6 games of the season are a little bit easier. They have a back-to-back with Florida, New Jersey, a back-to-back with Washington, and then they finish in St. Louis. So the Penguin schedule does get easier. But when you look at what's coming up in the next handful of games, that's where you sit there and go, they have a better chance of losing a bunch of those games. That could be the path for you to chase.
Pittsburgh could be the team in trouble.
Yeah,
they could be.
You chase that. Now, and as you pointed out, the Islanders are 5 points ahead of the Flyers. Flyers have 2 games in hand on the Islanders.
Yep.
They also play them head-to-head.
Yep.
So, in essence, just winning the games that you have in hand and beating them head-to-head in regulation, you could pass the Islanders.
You could.
Right? So just that in and of itself. So that's why, to me, if you're going to get there, and this is still I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying, hey, they're going to do it. They're going to make this push. This is a very, very narrow, thin path.
Yeah.
Okay. To make
razor thin line. To get in.
You don't have a lot of wiggle room here.
Yeah.
But the path to me is to catch Pittsburgh, to finish 3rd in the Metro.
Yeah.
Right. But you've got to beat the Islanders and win your 2 extra games that you have in hand.
Yeah.
That has to happen.
And you're going to have to beat Detroit. You're going to have to knock them right off their wagon.
Yeah. They have 3 games left against
Detroit. I know.
Who's a flailing team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Flailing team. So I think that, I don't know how many more games the Flyers can lose out of 12. Probably 3 and still have a shot.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right? Like if you win 9 out of the 12, if you get 18 points out of the 24, you have a shot.
Yeah.
Because that gets you to 98. And I think that that's probably what you're going to need to get in. I think that that's probably where it's at. So anyway, it's just kind of, it's a tough path, Bundy. It really is.
It is. And the problem is that you could go roll for 2 games and even get to like within 3 points.
Yeah.
The problem is you could lose 1 game and then next night everybody wins and you're back down to 5 points again.
Yeah.
That's where it's so hard when you're trying to schedule watch. That's why I always, if I'm a player, I'm looking at a certain number of the points that I think I need to get in.
Right.
Rather than looking at who's in front of me, who's falling in and out of the wild card, who's going in here, there, and everywhere.
Right.
I'm just looking at trying to get 97 points.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I might even be 98. It might be 97 is possible. I think you might need 98. Isn't that crazy to think?
Yeah.
Do you think back to your day? Like if you had a 98-point season, it was a great season.
Oh, unbelievable.
Like you're like, oh, that was an awesome season.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's like barely getting into the playoffs.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. One thing I wanted to bring up with you, and we talked about this last night on pregame. Kevin Kurz did an article. Basically what he did before he wrote the article for The Athletic is he put a poll out through The Athletic's website asking fans a series of questions. And got more than 2,700 people to respond. So that's a pretty good number.
That's a good number,
right?
yeah.
It's a really good number. If you're doing it for people who do polling, that's a good sample size, and probably your margin of error with 2,700 is probably in the neighborhood of plus or minus like 3 points, right? I mean, that's relatively where that's at. And I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on a couple of the topics. Now, I know, like I said, we talked about this last night on the Press Row Show. So for those of you who are with us who were here for that, that's fine. But just know that Bundy was not part of it. So you're going to get some fresh responses tonight. But I wanted to kind of get I just hit the wrong thing. I'm trying to get to the page and talk at the same time. Walking and chewing.
Like walking and chewing gum.
Yeah, walking and chewing gum. I'm struggling. All right. So the first question was, Do you think the Flyers rebuild is on the right track or the wrong track? What do you think won? What do you think the fans
What
thought?
do I think the fans said? I
Yeah.
think it's going to be 60-40 that it's on the wrong track.
It's the other way around.
Is that right? It's on the right track.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is that? So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Does that
tells you that there's a whole lot of loud voices on Twitter that really make a lot of stink over nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. It was, to be fair, it was 59-41 if we want to be specific. It wasn't actually 60-40. It was 59-41. But still, I thought that was pretty good. That was a pretty interesting thing. Now, to be fair, 41% is not a number to sneeze at and just dismiss, right? That tells you that there is a decent segment of, it may not be the majority, but there is a decent segment of the fan base who doesn't believe in what they're doing.
Right.
And so the Flyers have to do some work to change that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and the only way you can do that, though, is players. It's what the product you see on the ice and how it repeats itself nightly, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think there's some disbelief amongst the fans.
Yeah.
You know, why aren't they drafting high enough? Why didn't they tear it down to the studs to be able to draft 1, 2, or 3 in the draft? You hear a lot of that all the time on Twitter or social media, fans asking you that, you know, in general. But, you know, I mean, I think it's interesting. 59-41, I think is an interesting number that I was totally flipped around the other way.
I was a little surprised as well.
Yeah.
And first of all, for anybody who thinks that this was doctored by Kevin, it's not, because the poll was not run by Kevin. The poll was run by the New York Times. Okay. So just so you guys know, because I see a lot of people commenting about this, right? How confident are you in Danny Briere as general manager, with 5 being the most confident and 1 being the least confident?
I'm going to say people said 4.
Yeah, they did. 37.8%, 38%.
Yeah.
Said 4.
Yeah.
So now when you do these polling analyses, what they do is they say you look at 4 and 5 and you look at 1 and 2.
Right.
Right. Because that's the you put them together, because it just shows the 4s, they're confident, maybe not super confident, but they're confident. And the 2s, they're not completely opposed, but they're not feeling good about it.
Right.
So 4 and 5 combined was 45%. 1 and 2 combined was 21%. The rest were 3.
Okay.
So it's kind of the majority still think he's doing a good job.
Yep.
But the middle ground is right there. I'm glad that it's not. I'm glad that bottom number is not higher.
Right. I am too.
Right. Like, because I have a hard time sitting there saying, when you look at what Danny Briere has done as general manager, saying, "Oh, he's screwed this up." Like, what? I don't know what you could sit there and say. You look at his trades. Every one of his trades have been solid.
The only misstep that I sometimes see is the Cutter Gauthier move.
Yeah, like, is that really his fault?
No,
right? You know what I'm saying?
But they're going to blame somebody.
You got to blame somebody for it, I guess, right?
Right.
But that was not his fault. So fine. And look, we all said it at the time that Gauthier was going to be a really good player in this league. There's no doubt about it. And you got what you could get. But in essence, what you basically got out of it was Drysdale and essentially Zegras, because the pick went back to Anaheim.
Yeah.
And in the Zegras trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you basically got Zegras and Drysdale for Gauthier.
Yeah.
And again, it's not, oh my God, awesome, great return, but it's not.
Ryan Poehling.
Well, Poehling.
Yeah, you forgot about him.
Oh yeah.
Just
Ryan.
got a 4-year extension.
Yeah, Ryan Poehling. Exciting. But no, I mean, really, when you look at it, I mean, that's not a bad return. It's a decent return.
Yeah.
Right.
You got a guy that's going to get close to 40 goals. So
yeah, no, I'm saying,
a lot, though, yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, Anaheim wins the trade. I'm not saying that they don't, but it's not like it was a disaster.
Right.
Right. You know what you get there. So, by the way, Landros is saying, whose fault, and if it's not the guy in charge, right? Well, he was in charge. The problem existed before Danny was the general manager. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So he tried, once he was general manager. If you recall the story, him and Jonesy actually flew to Europe to go try and meet with Cutter Gauthier, and he refused to speak with them.
Really?
Yes. He
it's crazy.
Flat out refused to talk to them.
Wow.
Like, he was playing in Europe and he flat out refused. So, I mean, it was something that was kind of related to what was going on before that. there are multiple things that were tied to it. So it's hard to sit there and blame Danny Briere, right? And here we go with Giants. It's been Danny's in capitals. So I guess he's yelling at me. It's been Danny's drafting that screwed this team. Wake up, Anthony. The entire league is laughing at us. Okay. So other than, and this, you still don't know the answer to, but other than the Luchenko draft pick, which is at pick 13, right? You're not talking about the top of the draft. His first round picks have been Mishkov and Martone towards the top of the draft. Does anybody have a problem with either of those picks?
No, the problems they're going to have with you is Luchenko and Nesbitt, because they went outside the box and they're using comparables of players around them. Like you could go back. I know that was not Danny Briere, but they took York instead of
right.
Cole Caulfield.
That's not Danny.
That's not Danny. There's nothing that's no one's fault that's in this current administration.
Correct.
Nobody's.
Right.
But I think what they're looking at is the Nesbitt and Luchenko to seeing if the Flyers tried to outsmart everybody by jumping up and taking guys that maybe weren't supposed to go that high.
Yeah. And here's another one. Luchenko, we do know the answer. He isn't good. You cannot say that. You cannot say it. He's going to be anybody you talk to says he's going to be an NHL player. Now, does he become a top 6 forward? Maybe not. He may end up being a third line center in the NHL.
He could, yeah.
Right, but his 200-foot play and his speed will play at that level.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question. With the amount of teams there is now,
yes,
some of the bad players in this league, he'll play for sure.
It will play at that level. So to dismiss him as a non-factor is ridiculous for a 19-year-old. It just is. So that's the point. But to sit there and say that the rest of their drafting has been terrible, I don't know. You got a kid like what's his name's in the lineup now? Or he wasn't. Bump wasn't their pick. He was the year before, right?
Was he the year before?
Look,
he was a 5th round.
He
pick.
was 5th, but I'm saying
who drafted Bump.
Was he Fletcher or was he Briere? I forget what year Bump was picked. But I mean, you got a couple other guys that are coming. Like Oliver Bonk's going to probably be up here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one for me.
So he was Fletcher. Okay, Bump was Fletcher.
2022.
Yeah, he was Fletcher. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what were we just saying?
Oliver Bonk.
It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be ready next year.
He may not be ready next year.
Yeah, I mean, he may need another year in the minors.
Yeah. But that's defenseman.
Yeah, that's a defenseman, though, yeah.
I mean, that defensemen do that, right?
Somebody asked me earlier on one of the questions, like, what year did I have my breakout year?
Yeah.
And I could tell you, I actually remember the game. It was a game against Pittsburgh, against Yager. It was my first game that I just destroyed him.
Yeah.
And he had nothing the whole game. That was kind of my breakout game, and that was in my 3rd year in the league.
There you go.
Yeah, so I would have been about 25.
Right.
Yeah.
So it takes time especially for defensemen.
It does.
Especially for defensemen. It takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And was that, if I recall correctly, because I think we've had this conversation before, did you not just that game? Didn't you just come off of being benched didn't Hitch have you benched for like a week?
No, I wasn't with Hitch then. That was Terry Murray.
Oh, was that Terry Murray?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my Terry Murray year. So I had good. They started off with against Yager. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. So the bench was the benching Hitch or was the benching Terry Murray?
Was Terry Murray.
So maybe that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So didn't it come right off of that?
Yes, I sat out 9 out of 13 games and I came back a different player.
Right.
Terrified. I worked harder. I was in better shape. I mean, they bagged me.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe, to a point I was puking and every practice.
Yeah.
But they saw something and they saw potential that I could rise up and play as a top level defenseman.
Yeah.
And I ended up fulfilling that prophecy that they had for me. So it ended up working out really well.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, they had a homegrown defenseman. They weren't sure who I was going to be. They put me through the ringer mentally, physically, emotionally, and I came out the other side, and that's what they're looking for. When you get a response from a guy, when you do that to him, that's how I remember Bob Clark. That's how you know you have a player in your hands.
Yeah.
When they can respond to adversity.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Next question was, how would you grade Rick Tocchet and the Flyers coaching staff so far? This was an A, B, C, D, F letter grade.
Well, I'm looking at the fans. From the fans that you see on Twitter, it's so negative sometimes.
Yes.
So I'm going to actually reverse that. I'm going to say it's 50-50.
It's pretty close. So you're right in the sense that it's right down the middle for the fact that the highest grade was a C.
Okay.
So 38% said C.
Right.
And I think that's probably fair.
Yeah, first year guy,
First
getting
year,
to know the players.
Know the players. there's been improvement for when you look at some of the players, like their players have improved under Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Some,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not the guys that the fans necessarily wanted to have a better season, but there are some guys who've played better. The second highest grade, this is the one that I found most interesting. The second highest grade was a B. Again, thinking what the fans would think, like you would think fans would have gone D or F,
Yeah,
right?
just based on what you
based
read.
on what you read, right? So the second highest grade was a B. So A, B, and C combined was 58%.
Okay.
Right? D went 21%. F went 11%.
Okay.
Yeah, right? I mean, like,
it's about middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack, and I think that that's fair because I think there are things that I've liked about Rick, and I think there are things that I think that he's not handled as well.
Right.
And I think it's kind of right down the middle, and I think that that's a fair assessment for Tocchet.
What would you like to see different from a man?
Well, I mean, he came in here with the goal of fixing the power play, and it's worse now than it was before.
Yeah.
Right? So that, to me, number one. Number two, I thought he would be more media savvy than he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he's gotten himself in a little bit of hot water with, the optics on some of the things that he has said.
Yeah.
Right.
The carnival stuff.
The carnival stuff with Mishkov, right? Like you just got to be smarter about that. There's a certain way of saying things and doing it's. I'm not trying to say that he handled it. He handles Mishkov wrong as a coach. I think that he's handling Mishkov wrong in the public.
Yeah.
Right. And so like those things, I think he needed to be better. So yeah, I think that there are some other, and there's some other things you got to clean up and got to figure out. And I mean, he's learning the team, he's learning the players. I think he's under more pressure next year for sure. Sure, he's under more pressure.
Yep.
And deservedly so. So I think that that's kind of where that's at. The next question.
How many are there questions?
I think there was like 10. But
let's do some. Yeah,
we have time. The next question was, and we didn't talk about this one last night because I felt that we were tight on time, so I skipped this one. When will the Flyers be a playoff team again? Now, this poll did not include this season. So he asked 26-27, 27-28, 28-29, or later, 29-30 and beyond.
I would say more people said 26-27.
The most was 27-28.
Really? Okay.
36%. 28% were next season.
Okay.
21%, 28-29, and 14% of the miserables out there said 20-30.
20-30, right?
Yeah. I think that they're next. I think that they are there next season.
They could be. There's a lot of things you got to weigh and measure, though.
Yeah.
How much for where they're at right now?
Yeah.
How much of that is Vladar?
A lot of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you never apologize for good goaltending.
Yeah.
But if you put a mediocre goalie in, if you use run back last year's goaltending, this year and it plays the same, where is this team at?
Worse. But here's what I would say. I could the counterpoint to that, Bundy, would be if you had a more reliable backup than Sam Ersson, you're probably in the playoffs this year too.
You might be, but then you're offsetting it with less losses though than the magnitude of the wins that Vladar provided for you.
Right.
Like, I mean, he was unbelievable to start the year.
He was. And let me ask you this. Do you think they're a better defensive team now than they were at the beginning of the season?
Right now they are, but a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, they were terrible.
They're in January.
Awful.
They were awful.
Just like absolutely horrendous.
But they came out of the Olympic break
and they played better.
They've looked like a better defensive
team.
They
have.
Even if Vladar's game
that scares me though.
Dropped a little bit. Why does it scare you?
Because you can revert back to that same thing.
Okay.
If you don't have the players that are going to keep you right there and your head above water in those games and buy into that defensive style, you're going to find leakiness sometimes in your game, and you're going to end up losing 11 out of 15 or something like that, which they did.
Yeah.
And you can't have that. You cannot have that if you're on a playoff march.
Hey, Johnny P., if you don't like what we have to talk about, I ask you to just say goodbye, see you later, and go do your own podcast. All right? 2,700 people answered this poll. All right? 2,700 people. See you, pal. All right. Next question. All right? You don't have to put that comment up on that. I mean, you put the comment up now. It makes me look bad. Now I got to address it. Jesus, intern.
Yeah, okay. Interns looks like an intern again tonight. He's really he's struggling down there.
Struggling. All right. How concerned are you with Matvei Mishkov's regression this season? And the options were not concerned at all, slightly concerned, very concerned, or I don't think he regressed.
I would say the third one.
Slightly concerned?
Slightly concerned.
Yes. 54% or 55%. I'm sorry, 54.7. So 55% were slightly concerned. The one that kind of just blew me away was 23% that said not concerned at all.
Okay.
Like 23%.
That's a lot.
Are you
that's one out of four?
1 out of 4 people are watching this guy play going, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, he's really a darling to a lot of fans. He really is. Yeah. Yeah, he really is. Like, he can do no wrong to certain people, and it's like they're projecting. Like, he might come down, make a play in the zone, and people in their mind are envisioning what he kind of play he might make in 2 years, and then they're attributing that to now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy. He's crazy. Like, he had a rough night last night.
Yeah.
Really rough night.
Like the last 2 shifts.
He played pretty well.
Like those last couple of shifts that he took were
but
really good.
I didn't know he played until then.
Until that point, he was missing.
Yeah.
He was missing in action. Right? So that was, look, I think that I would be under the slightly concerned. If I was to answer this, I would say I would agree with the majority of the fans.
Slightly concerned at what, though? Of what his future is going to be, ultimately? Is he going to be the next Nikita Kucherov? I don't know about that, Ed.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
Probably not. No. But can he still be, a 70-point player who's, a really good player?
But that's not superstardom, though.
No, it's not.
That's not what we were sold.
Yes.
We were sold that he was going to be the game-changing franchise.
I don't think that, but I think he could be a very good player in the league? I do.
I do too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think a little bit of the bloom is off the rose.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. The start of next season is going to be the tell-all for me. Mm-hmm. Because if he comes in next season, I don't care, shape, not in shape, whatever. If he comes in next season and doesn't look better,
right,
then it's a big uh-oh.
It's a big problem.
It's a big uh-oh at that point. And then you might see me joining the people who say that they made a mistake they make mistakes in the draft, because that would have been a mistake at that point if he's not more than what he's been this year.
Yeah, he has to be, because we were told that, the excitement from the organization is transcended to the fans, to the media, people that are covering the team.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be that guy.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the guy that's supposed to change the face of the franchise for years to come. So that's where I wonder that's why I asked you, what is the pull of him becoming what?
Well, I think Kevin left it kind of open-ended with the way he asked the question. But how I'm interpreting it is, what is he going to be as a player going forward? And so that's why I say I'm slightly concerned. I still think he's going to be a really good player, but he needs to show me something in October. That October is going to be a big time for Mishkov.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a huge start to the season. Yeah,
that's what it needs to be. Okay. Should the Flyers sign Dan Vladar to a long-term contract extension this offseason?
I say yes, absolutely.
So now he left this open. And so the answer was 64% said yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm in agreement with you. But then the question that came up last night was, well, what's long-term?
I'm going 6 years.
Would you go that long?
I would, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd go 6 times whatever, was the normal number.
I was saying 4.
4 years. I'd go 6, yeah.
You go 6.
How old is he?
29.
Oh, that might be too much. So I was thinking he's 27 right now, just off the top of my head. Yeah, maybe I go 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that too, because I'm looking at it saying you do have some kids that you like in the system. Bjarnason, his first year in the AHL. You got the kids of Reagan over in Russia, right? Who might come over in a couple years. So you got some guys there, but it's still going to take time for them to develop. So I'm good with Vladar kind of being your number one guy for the next few seasons. And then if one of those guys hits and they're ready to be the number one guy, there's nothing wrong with having Vladar as a veteran backup at that point. Right?
Yeah, but I don't think he's not going to sign for that. He's signing here to be the starter.
No, I know he is, but what I'm saying is, but by the end of the contract,
maybe he is, maybe he's still
is
still on a good run, right?
Maybe
we don't know. We don't know.
But I think that if you're planning out, you got to say we'll get 3 good years out of this guy as a starter.
Yep.
And then we'll see where we're at. And maybe one of these other kids develops, and then they could be a starter, and then he's a good backup. If not, maybe he's still going well, and maybe he's still the starter. Whatever the case might be. So I'm in agreement that I would give him a contract. I would. Although you got to be careful. You don't want to pay too much for a goalie. We've seen some of that happen.
I know you want to finish that poll. I want to finish it with you. But here's a question. Do you think there's a chance that Danny goes to any of his players with no movement clauses and asks them to waive them in the summer?
Like who?
Like a Konechny, like a Sanheim, like an Owen Tippett.
Well, Tippett's doesn't kick in
until 30, right, or something.
July
like
July 1st.
July 1st. Okay.
So if he wanted to, he could technically trade Tippett at the draft,
right,
and it's still without a problem. He doesn't have to ask him. Maybe I don't know. That's a tough call.
I'm just saying that these guys have been here a long time.
Yeah,
and I think they have like a combined playoff games of like 38.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree.
I'm just wondering if it's something that Danny spitballs in the offseason.
I'll tell you.
Does he say, listen, we have to make drastic changes, and we can't do it unless we go to the top of our order?
I think that the bigger spitball for Danny, or bigger risk take, like could really take a risk thing that he could do, is go after a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to give up some draft picks to do it.
Yeah, you're going to give a 4 first-round draft
and
picks.
You're going to have to spend some money. But that's the one thing I was going to try and save that for. That's the last question of the poll. But there is the best thing about having a corporate owner is that the money is there.
Right.
I mean, that's the one positive about it is the money is there. So I think that that's something that he could do that could be a bigger swing for him in the offseason to go after an RFA. I don't know if he has to ask somebody to waive their – I don't know.
I'm just wondering because, those guys have been here a long time, and there's not been a lot of playoff battles to talk about. It's all one thing to talk about your regular season and you win the Bobby Clark Award or the Ashby, but I don't care about regular season. I care about the secondary season.
For sure. I'm with you. I do wonder. That's a good question, Bundy. That's a good question. I'll start looking into that one. Who should be I think this is an easy one. Who should be the Flyers' backup goalie next season? Erson, Kolosov, Bjarnason, or someone else?
Say that again.
Who should be the backup goalie next season? Erson, Kolosov, Bjarnason, or someone else?
I don't even know if one of those three guys will be here. I mean, Bjarnason will be here, but whether or not he's here on the team,
I don't
know.
think he's ready yet.
Who's the most likely? I mean, I don't know if they can bring Erson back.
I don't think
after 2 years. I just don't think he can do that again to the fans. I think they're going to want it different. So it might be Bjarnason. That would be my most likely scenario.
I go with the fans. 67% or 66% said someone else.
That's what I was thinking when you said it. I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, someone else.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's where I would go.
Outside the organization.
I think that's the answer.
Yeah, I think that's because I think that they like Bjarnason, but they want him to be the number one guy for the Phantoms.
They like him a lot though.
Before he's been the backup there, so they want him to be the number one guy first before they call him up. So I think that's most likely that when you get to July 1, whatever goalies are on the free agent market, you're probably going to get a backup goalie signed to be behind Vladar next year. What did you think of the trade of Bobby Brink for David Jiricek? Did you like it or not like it?
Only because of the potential that Jiricek brings down the line, his size, his shot, his ability. I think was worth the risk.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good trade. I think Brink, he's a nice little player. Ultimately, just too small, I think, for my liking down the road, like playing in a top 6 role. I don't think it was going to happen here.
I agree.
And they had to make room for Martone and Bump. I think it's a good trade.
Yes, 78% of the fans agree.
Yeah,
it was a good trade. Yeah. So I think we're all on the same
stratosphere
with that one, right? And yet, I mean, look, Jiricek could well become a special player on the blue line.
Right.
Could. He's got a ceiling. Whether he gets there or not, we don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But he has that ability if they can get the most out of him.
Yeah.
So that's why it was worth the risk, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And, you just don't know what a guy's going to be like. It's amazing. I mean, the only downside to Jiricek, I don't know what it is, except that 2 teams gave up on him really early.
Yeah. So the one I can tell you, it was more of a difference in philosophy. That was the Columbus situation.
Okay.
He and his agent felt he was an NHL player. They didn't want him. They wanted him in the AHL, so they asked out.
Okay.
So that was that. I was surprised that Minnesota made him available, but I think Minnesota looked at it and said, we're trying to win a Stanley Cup right now.
Right now.
And we think Bobby Brink can help us get there. Let's give up a decent prospect for him. And so that's I think that's how that came to be. So we'll see. We'll see. And it's Wally points out skating is the only downside. I think that's something that in the offseason last year, they had somebody working with Tyson Forster on power skating, lower half. And I think the plan is to have that same trainer, and I don't even know I apologize for not knowing his name, but having that same trainer work with Urasek this summer.
Okay.
And so the goal is to kind of get that going for him. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Got a super chat, so might as well put it up. Thanks to Poo Nugs for the super chat. Quick subject change. My daughter and I are on the train to Philly right now for the game tomorrow. Can we stop by to meet you guys, and where are you? So, yes, Poo Nugs, you absolutely can. Let me tell you that. First, I want to give you a little bit of advice. Get down there early tomorrow. And I mean that because there is the opening day for the Phillies tomorrow. And you're going to have 47,000 people at Citizens Bank Park for a game that starts at 4:15. If the baseball game runs 2.5 hours, you're going to have 47,000 people trying to get out of parking lots while 20,000 people are trying to get into the parking lot for the Flyers. Mm-hmm. It's going to be an absolute mess down there. So do yourself a favor, get to the arena early. Even if you can't, there's nothing to do. Just kind of hang out. But just get yourself there. Otherwise, you'll miss the game. Secondly, if you want to find us, we broadcast from the balcony. And you get there. There's an elevator behind.
You know what I always tell people, Anthony,
What's that?
To make it a lot easier?
Yeah.
I tell people we're located right next to the organ.
Oh, we are.
On literally, we could reach out and touch the organ on the balcony
level. The balcony level. Yeah, but the easiest way to get there is the elevator outside section 121, 122. Because if you try to go up the elevator on the other side of the arena, they won't let you up.
They won't let you up, okay.
Right? So you got to use the elevator at 121, 122, and just, if anybody asks, just tell them you're coming up to see the Snow the Goalie podcast, and they will let you come up and say hi to us. I always recommend coming up during the game because obviously we broadcast pregame and during each intermission and postgame. So we can't really talk while we're on, but during the game, if you come up, we can come out and say hi and chat with you guys for a few minutes. So hope to see you tomorrow, Poo Nugs. I'll be a little bit late because I'll be at the Phillies game. I'll probably get there by sometime during the first period, but definitely stop up. All right, we have 2 minutes left. So, Bunny, I can't get to all the questions here.
Got one more?
I'll give you one more. Let's do. This is an interesting one. Who should be the Flyers captain next season? Couturier, Konechny, Sanheim, someone else?
No, somebody else.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
As long as Coots is here,
yeah,
I think that they should leave him with the C.
Fair.
But I don't think you take it from him and put it on Sanheim or PK.
Agree.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I'm in agreement with that. But let's imagine you move on from Sean Couturier.
Yeah.
Let's say you buy him out or somebody's willing to take that, whatever the rationale is. And Sean Couturier is not here next year. Are you giving it to Konechny, Sanheim, or are you giving it to somebody else?
I don't think you're giving it to anybody that's here. I don't.
That's an interesting point.
I don't think you're giving it to anybody that's here. I think you go back to the 2 or 3 A's again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that guy's here.
So. All right. Fair.
Yeah.
The answer was the fans said 50% said Travis Konechny.
Okay.
50% said Konechny would be the guy. Well, that'll do it for us here from Chickies and Pete's out at Parx Casino in Bensalem. We always thank them for their graciousness to have us out here. This was our last one here for the regular season. If they make the playoffs, who knows? There's a possibility. We could potentially be back next week. We are at Chickies and Pete's of Marlton, New Jersey. Come on out and see us next Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Tomorrow at the arena for the Press Row Show. Me, Bundy, and unfortunately, Russ will be back. And intern Andrew will be there as well. So we will see you there tomorrow night for pregame 6:30. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to intern Andrew. Thanks to Chris Ermer, our engineer. We will see you again soon, everyone. Have a great night. Thanks again.